Hey guys, what's up? This is a follow-up to a video I made a while back on how to cold email professors to get research internships. At the end of that video, I said that you should always include a resume at the end of your email. So in this video, I'm going to share my resume and the process of writing it that got me a research internship in human-computer interaction with the Computer Science and Information Science department at Cornell University. Let's get into the video. Before I share my resume with you all, there are 4 key rules that you absolutely need to follow while making any kind of resume. The first is clear sections. Your resume should be extremely easy to follow, even if someone's looking at it just for a few seconds. So for example, in my resume, I had 4 very clear sections marked by boxes: experience, projects, education, and skills. Make sure that whoever's reading your resume can very easily find what they're looking for. The second rule is that a resume should be 1 to 2 pages. It should not exceed that. No one has time to go through a 9-page resume that covers things that you did 5 years ago. It's not relevant, no one's going to read it. And within those 1 to 2 pages, make sure that you list the most important things first. Which brings me to my next point. Tailor your resume to the position that you're applying for. Go to the job description, or in the case of research internships, when you don't have a job description, go through that person's research work and make a list of exactly what you think might be required to do an internship in this field. And then make sure that your resume is tailored to those qualities. If you're applying for a research position that requires a lot of interviews and field work, your resume would be considerably different than if you're applying for a position that's very theoretical and requires a lot of lab work. In the first case, you would focus more on communication skills, whereas in the second case, you would focus more on technical skills. Tailor your resume to the internship that you want. And the fourth tip is to focus on transferable skills. You might not have any direct experience in that field, but focus on what other things you've done that have given you skills that can be applied to this. To give you a basic example, think about teamwork. A research internship might require you to work with a lab of graduate students and academics. Even if you've never done that before, if you've worked with a team to organize a large charity project, that still gives you teamwork skills that can be transferred to this research internship. Hence the term transferable skills. A lot of students, especially when looking for research internships, don't have any prior research experience, and that's totally okay as long as you remember to focus on transferable skills. Now let's get into my resume. The first thing that a person sees on my resume is the experience section. And I chose to put this section first because it's the most relevant one. My first experience is a journalism internship. And while you might think, what does this have to do with the research in human-computer interaction? Focus on the description here. I tell them that I know how to conduct interviews, I know how to research about a topic and write about it, which are 2 things that I have done extensively in this internship. The second thing I put under experience was some volunteer work I'd done with an organization called Child Rights in Hii India. Now, there were a couple of reasons I included this. The first one was that the internship I had to do with the technology for education. And through Child Rights in Hii, I was a volunteer teacher in a few slum areas. I also ran a fundraiser based on communicating the different strategies that this organization had to combat child labor in Indian villages. And that basically shows effective communication skills and the ability to execute a project within a fixed timeline. I had a lot of experiences in high school that I could have put on this, but I only chose the 2 that I felt were the most relevant and had the most transferable skills that I could actually use in the internship. The second thing I talked about is projects. First, my art community, because it was the largest thing I'd done. This shows that I know how to work with a large team and that I'm organized and effective. The second thing that I talked about was the science education program that my friend and I had started. Reasons: 1, this is about education. 2, it was a big project that we actually executed with a large team. But the most important thing is that this was the only place where I showed some computer science skills, because on the side, I'd built an app to potentially use technology to improve learning outcomes and give these children a revision base to come back to after our sessions. I also had a little bit of research experience through doing the IB program in my school. A lot of times teachers have the freedom to set some really creative assignments, and one of them was in psychology, where we were asked to design some kind of app or product based on secondary research. And even though this wasn't directly research, it's about reading research and then implementing it into this app that I designed. And that's an extremely useful skill to have. In second, I talked about my extended essay. If you're in the IB, you know this. You do a 4,000-word extended essay on any subject of your choice, and I did one in English. Even though this isn't in the same subject, it really shows that I have the ability to analyze different texts and then write about them, which is something I've been doing a little bit in this internship. The next section in this resume is skills. This is really simple to write. All you need to do is make 2 columns. 1, what does this internship require? And a lot of times you have to read between the lines. Just by looking at a paper, you won't realize what skills actually went into writing this paper. But you might find out that you need things like different programming languages, or writing abilities, or the ability to conduct interviews, or statistical analysis or maths. And then in the second column, you want to write the skills that you have. And then look at everything that overlaps and put it in the skills section. It's as simple as that. The fourth section I had is education. Now at the top, you want to put 1, what's relevant. So for this internship, it was things like maths, computer science, other sciences, English. And then you also want to put what you're best at. So for example, right at the top of my education section, I'm basically bragging about my 10th grade board score because you need to impress them. Anything in your education history that's really impressive, put it in there. Now, if you're really bad in a subject that's not relevant to the internship, please don't write about it. For example, if you're applying for a computer science internship, please don't put your geography score in there unless it's extremely impressive, because they really don't care. You're just wasting their time with information that they don't need and they don't want to see, and that will take away from the genuine impressive achievements in your resume. This is what I mean when I say tip number 3, which is tailor your resume to the internship that you want. If you want an internship in computer science, focus on the things that are relevant to computer science and what truly makes you impressive. And finally, the last section I have is the least relevant one. Basically, if someone skipped over this section and didn't read it, they wouldn't lose much value out of this resume. It's called additional experience, and I've put 2 things in here. 1 is a marketing internship that I did with a peer-to-peer mentorship company called Dartmouth. And the second thing I put was a SIS journal or blog that I managed for our school's online platform called LDM. I was basically managing the blog and all the articles in different sections within it and designing the layout. The point of these 2 experiences is just to show that I know how to work with a team and that I know how to meet deadlines in a professional setting. I'm telling them that I'm not completely new to the world of working with people. And that's my entire 2-page resume for you. Following these 4 tips that are sure to make your resume stand out. If you haven't, I would strongly encourage you to go watch part 1 of this series, which is how to cold email to get research internships. You can watch my Ivy League admissions playlist here and other helpful college videos over here. If you're new here, hi, I'm an international student from India studying computer science and philosophy at an Ivy League university in the US, and I would love for you to hit the subscribe button below because every week we talk about college applications, being a student, lifestyle, and more on this channel. If you're currently looking for a research internship, I wish you the best of luck. Comment any questions you have below, and I'll see you very soon with a brand new video.